This is Our Rough Draft, a podcast, real talk for real relationships.
Welcome to Our Rough Draft, where we share real stories from marriage, work, life, and the adventures along the way. We'll laugh, maybe get real, and hopefully help you spark some new conversations in your own life.
I'm Denise, the wild, emotional one who loves words and big ideas.
And I'm Tim. I'm the practical level one who fixes what she dreams of.
And this is Our Rough Draft, where we share the stories we're still living. It's a whole new vibe today. Welcome in.
Welcome. A whole new vibe.
A whole new vibe. Keeping it 100.
Yeah.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good. A little achy.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that. What's been going on this week?
Yard project.
Yeah. What are you working on?
Well, we are creating a hot tub / seating area where the old garden beds used to be, which then required me to tear out the garden beds and move all of that block, dig, place dirt. So
So
my old body's aching.
I gotcha. What I thought was funny when you said that is that you were doing a whole yard project when you're supposed to be looking for a job. Yeah. For me, life lately, a couple of things. One, I recognize the difference between raising a son and raising a daughter because of homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little bit on edge this week. I have a lot going on. I am not prepared for probably half of it. Like, I just feel, I'll give you what I feel like here in a minute, but let me finish the boy-girl story. So I know that homecoming's coming up. Mason's really busy. And so I keep meaning to call the florist to order flowers for this weekend.
Yeah.
So finally I make the call yesterday afternoon and the lady goes, "You want a nosegay?" And I was like, "I want a what?"
What'd you say to me?
And she's like, "It's a bouquet. It's what the girls are carrying." And I was like, "Yes, I know about these little bouquets. I just didn't know that they had names." I'm trying to use my phone today as my little prompter and it keeps going to sleep. So, we're going to work through it.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
So yes, I need a nosegay. It's a little bouquet. But then I also got the corsage because I think you're supposed to have both. I don't know.
Or at least there's options.
Right. So I'm so excited for it because I want a nosegay now too.
Just like a Wednesday nosegay.
Yes. But here's where the boy parent part came in. So like I said, I'm a little overwrought this week. So this morning I went upstairs to do something and I happened past Mason's room, which
That's
is
never
a
a good
nest.
idea.
It's a nest right now is what he's referring to it as. He has taken all the pillows from the guest room and he's made a nest. And then the floor is all of his clothes. So it's just a continuation nest. Picture Snuffleupagus's home. That is where our son lives. But then I looked harder and all of my pillows, sorry if you ever come stay with us, I will buy new pillows. Not a one has a pillowcase on it. And I'm like, nosegays. Teenage girls are throwing it back to the Gilded Age of nosegays, and they are all proper and pretty and beautiful. And my kids don't know to use pillowcases.
And your kid, meanwhile, is just throwing it back to, I don't know, medieval times when there weren't pillows.
It really bothered me this morning. So let me talk about how I'm feeling. We're in Tempe, and there are trees down all over. There was a giant storm this week called a downburst, which is different than being down bad, but similar. Sorry, a lot of Taylor Swift on my mind this week. Well, so it's like a tornado, but instead of a twisty sensation, it literally the sky opens and everything pummels what's ever below it. And Tempe happened to be below it this week. There are trees down everywhere. It is a hot mess. There's a 100-year-old tree out in front of Gamage that just gave up the ghost. It just fell over. The root ball is everywhere. It took down this 5-foot diameter palm tree on its way. And I just keep thinking the ground is saturated. It couldn't hold it anymore. It had nothing to do with the tree. The tree was just minding its own business, living its life. And all this rain came like 3 inches in one day, and it was saturated. And it was like, and done.
Well, and 80-mile-an-hour winds.
Fair. But the saturation is what I'm focused on because that's how I feel right now. I feel totally saturated. Like I don't often get to this point of overwhelm, but I'm an overwhelm. Like I hit it where I'm like, nothing new can go in until something else goes out.
Yeah.
So I have class tomorrow, which is Saturday. Totally not prepared for it. But thankfully, my cohort of friends were all on Slack today. Like, I'm not prepared for class tomorrow. I'm like, oh, thank God. Nobody's prepared. It's going to be what it's going to be. What else do I have going on?
I was going to ask, like, what else is saturating?
This piece of hair.
I wouldn't know anything about it, obviously.
Keep
I
laughing.
never have to worry about that.
Keep laughing. It's fine.
Yeah.
My doctoral program is overwhelming only because I've reached this point where I know what I'm doing. I have all the writing in front of me. I know what I need to do. While at the same time, I'm having to read buckets of content that has nothing to do with my own research. It's all like the theories and the knowledge base and to make sure that what I'm doing is what I think I'm doing. But I've been reading research and theory for a decade.
I know.
So it feels like I've hit saturation with that. But now I have to choose, like, can I be done? Can I just move forward? Which I can, but for my classes, we're still talking about all the theories and all of that. So it's just at this weird, awkward time. We have, well, I was referring to them in my head this morning. I think I said it to you as I left the house, like 2 baskets of laundry that have hope. Like there's 2 baskets of laundry that are clean, just sitting there, hopeful that somebody will fold them and put them away. Mostly towels.
And somebody did?
Did they? You did?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
I embraced their hopefulness and I fulfilled their dreams of being folded and put away.
That's so awesome. So that's done. Well, I can feel less saturated now. But what else do I have going on? Oh, I'm writing a class. So I'm writing a new class for our online elementary ed degree. And it doesn't launch until spring A, so January. But I have a deadline that I want to get it done by next week. So that's hanging over my head. I don't know what else, but it just feels, I haven't been sleeping. So that's been tricky. I've been waking up at all hours. Sorry again for that.
I don't know that it's you, though. Because I'm not sleeping either, but I don't think it's because you're waking up. I think it's just our schedule is still, for whatever reason, completely messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, we landed back from Italy
forever ago.
So theoretically, we should be back on a normal schedule, but it just feels like it's a weird limbo time. I don't know.
Yeah, because you're not working and you are going to be working again. The weather's been weird. Like, it's just been a weird time. So anyway.
It feels strange.
So that's what's been going on with me this week. It's been a lot. But here we are. Currently, while we are doing this, the Mariners are playing, and I will tell you that they are up 1-0. Okay. So let's hope that that continues because we can't watch right now because we're doing the podcast, and I can't watch anymore right now. It's so stressful.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I think it's good to take a step away, actually. I mean, in all honesty, and I hope that doesn't create an impression that I'm not a passionate fan, a rabid fan, because I am for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a lot. Like we were commenting on it the other day. I didn't realize, obviously, because we haven't been in this position in a million years, but I didn't realize the commitment that postseason baseball takes in terms of your time, your mental state, I don't know.
And I'm not happy with any of the announcers. So that's a whole other thing. So I figured out how to rig our radio to our TV, but the TV guy from Mariners came over to the radio and he's not my favorite. So I only want to hear Rick Riz and I can't. And it's frustrating because I want hope, which is going to get us into this episode. In sports, I always want it to be hopeful and exciting and we're going to turn it around and things are going to be great and yay! And apparently not everybody sees sport like that.
No.
So today's topic is how we are wired differently, how we approach life from kind of two very different vantage points, but it works for us and it works for most of our very best friends. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that different way to look at sport here in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we get in?
Sure.
All right.
I mean, I think it's a good illustration. I think it could apply to a lot of different things, but I think it's a good way to get into the conversation.
Talking about the sports or getting into the story? Okay.
The sports.
All right. Talk about it.
Your point about there's a million different ways to cheer for your team, whatever your team is.
Yeah.
Right. And you have consistently over the course of our relationship, I'm not going to say consistently, I'm going to say for the most part over the course of our relationship, taking that hopeful, positive approach. There are plenty of times where you do not abide by that rule.
Mostly when it comes to Sun Devil football.
Mostly when it comes to Sun Devil athletics. But I will say that for the most part, I mean, and I think so maybe that's an interesting thing. Is it passion and connection to the team maybe that creates the sometimes not so hopeful? Because so the example, let me use this example. So my way of cheering for football, especially when it comes to the Seahawks, is to start every season hopeful. Maybe this is our year. Maybe this is the year, and eventually it was, and we won the Super Bowl, and that was fantastic. But there's been so many seasons where it's not our year and where it's frustrating and it's illogical and it doesn't make sense. And that can apply to a lot of other things. It could apply to the Mariners, some other things as well. So it started out hopeful, and I think then I start kind of backsliding into a less hopeful place where I'm a little bit more critical, where I'm a little bit more down about the team, the coach, the players.
Not a little.
I'm not sure why this is.
It's horrible.
No.
Yes.
Come
on. It is the most negative. We are never going to win again. We suck. No?
No.
Is that Cooper?
Yeah.
All right. Well, they get it from somebody.
Well, they get it from you, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so that's very different, right? Because I can be critical of the team. I can be critical of the coach, critical of whatever, and yet still be a fan. Where for you, taking the positive approach means you're not critical of the team. You're not critical of the coach. You're a positive fan versus a realistic fan. I don't know. I think... But I think, sorry to interrupt, but I think the difference is how you see me versus how I see you. You see me as extremely negative, extremely critical. I see you as maybe sometimes unreasonably hopeful, unreasonably positive in the face of bad crap. Yeah,
I think that's true. Let me tell you a story about how we're different. Maybe this will circle back around to the sports because I'm not sure I'm getting it yet. We have really great friends. And typically in our friend couples, one of us matches up with the other from a temperament standpoint. It's not always 100 or 1-to-1 correspondence, but oftentimes there's somebody who's on my side and somebody who's on your side. And so here's an example. Here's a story from a Mark and Kelly encounter where we used to get together. We would try and get together once a month for dinner over the course of 25 years. And there's times when we haven't done that as well. And there's times when we were really good at it. And this was kind of in the heyday. We were doing it pretty often.
We were locked in.
Yeah. And I don't know what was going on. It must have been spring break, fall break, something. Mark and I were both teachers. And so we had the day off.
Yeah.
And so we decided to get together earlier in the day than just dinner time and hang out and make dinner. And then you and Kelly would come home and we would all have dinner together. Well, Mark and I started drinking. And then we decided we need to figure out dinner. So then we went to the grocery store and we got all of our stuff. And you should have seen us in that grocery store, Newcastle QFC. Yeah, that was a good time. Throwing stuff in the basket. We were wild. Then we got home and we started making this great dinner. And we were hammered. And Mark still has a scar on his arm from it because he went to put something in the oven and like the shelf slipped out. And so rather than like using the pot holders to like put the shelf back, he grabbed it with his arm because we've never cooked before. Mark and I cook all the time. But whatever. So he has a scar from this day. Then Tim and Kelly come home and they give us a little bit of the side eye because they know that we've had too much to drink. And
a lot of the side eye.
Yeah, a lot of the side eye. And then like we bring them up to speed. We get them their wine and we all sit down for dinner. And the dinner is...
I don't remember.
Oh, it was horrible.
Oh, yeah. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what we had.
Oh, no, me either. But it was horrible.
Yeah.
Like Mark is an excellent cook. I'm a great sous chef, usually a pretty good cook. Whatever we made was bad. And everybody knew it was bad. And it was because we were drinking and we didn't, it was bad. I think we had to order pizza.
Yeah.
Bad. And Mark and I laugh about that because we're like, yeah, that's totally us. And it could happen again. Like on any given day, if Mark and I had the day off, we would do the exact same thing. How would it have gone if you and Kelly had the day off?
Well, there's an order of operations that I think would have probably prevented that particular incident. So you get together, we figure out what is being offered for dinner, and we go to the store, we get the ingredients, we come back, and only after we've done that errand, that thing, does the fun start. Now we're back home, we're ready to cook dinner, we can have a glass of wine, we can be jolly and merry. So the fun is still there, just in the right order.
The right order.
Yeah.
Yeah, order is not something that almost ever enters into my existence.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, it's like how you go through life. So how has that played out? Like, we are so very different when it comes to that. And yet this relationship works. I would imagine that if we were to ask Mark and Kelly, it's also one of their pain points, but their relationship is longer than ours. And we have other friends who fall on both sides of that. But like, how have we made that work?
I think I just came to this thought. So let me play this out a little bit. I think it goes to like the level of importance of that particular thing. So how much of a pain point is that? Because it is a pain point. Another good example is, and you have always railed against eating meals. Like, you get up in the morning, you have breakfast, and you get hungry in the middle of the day and you have lunch. And then at some point later on in the day, it's probably time to think about what you're going to do for dinner because you're hungry again. For you, that does not fly. So there's plenty of times where it's like 7:30 and we're kind of staring at each other. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to have a bowl of cereal. And not that I expect you to get up and cook. You just aren't necessarily hungry. And so it doesn't even enter your mind that that thing would happen. Where for me, it almost is maybe a triggering of my hunger. Oh, it's dinner time.
Yeah, you definitely have that.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Okay, I'm going to go eat. But again, that difference in the wiring is not enough for us to like not be married. Like, so that's kind of what I'm getting at is like on the scale of 1 to 10, this is maybe a 2. Yeah, it's annoying. And it could be a daily annoyance. Like, oh shit, here it comes like dinner time again. And I guess, I'll figure myself out and not worry about anybody else. But it's not a thing that needs to hang over my head. It's not a thing that's going to cause me to not love you anymore or be in a relationship with you. So in that sense, that difference in the wiring to me is not a big deal.
It's really interesting that you mentioned that about food, though, because when I'm not, I don't know, maybe it's weekends, like weekend meals I'm all about. It's the daily of it all. And like when I'm tired after work or I'm tired, like that's when it doesn't come into play.
Yeah.
Just to defend that line of questioning. Not that that matters.
It's not right or wrong.
No, but it's just an interesting thing because I love to cook a great meal, mostly. Yeah, I think that it shows up other times too, like in parenting, travel, probably just getting back from the trip. Is there any, I can think of for myself, now maybe I'll start there, when my lack of, it's not order, it's I would define my personality. I guess that's one of the questions, right? Like, how would people at work define you? I think the way that people would look at me at work is that I bring a lot of energy and passion to the work.
Mm-hmm.
And within that, I feel like I need a freedom to move and do what comes to mind next. The fatal flaw in that is that sometimes there's deadlines and I get saturated because I'm like still creating and being passionate and doing all of the things. And it's like, whew, I gotta put this to bed. Like I have 87 ideas and 83 can be in this final document. Get the 83 and be done.
Yeah.
But I am still into the last minute being like, I think we can get 87 in. And I can't always.
Yeah.
Which is hard. Where does it show up for you being orderly and planful and all of that? Is there ever a time where that you've had to adjust for that?
Yeah. I mean, I think that, going back to that concept of order of operations, right? Where over, I don't want to say how many years I've been working because it's a long time, but over the course of my career.
We're old, honey. It's okay.
Yeah, I have been, I think I've been pretty good at being able to take work, break it down, say this is step one, this is step two, if that applies. And so putting it in order, saying this is what needs to happen in order for this to happen, for that to happen, and I can ultimately get to the end of it. Things don't always work that way. They don't always accommodate my desire for order. And especially in this ever-changing world that we're now in, it's chaotic. And I had to learn how to embrace the chaos, how to incorporate the chaos into, work processes. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to get stuff done. I would throw up my hands and say, it can't be done. I have no idea what to do about this. I think I've been more flexible there. And then I also think being a parent is probably the best example of where the best laid plans are going to be derailed by a 3-year-old that can't find the other shoe or that wants to do something different. And you have to be able to embrace that. And I think that was probably the biggest aha for me, but it was also the biggest challenge for me becoming a parent, was to say, there is an order. You get up, you have breakfast, you leave the house, you do this. Like, here's how things are going to play out. Kids have a different idea of how things are going to play out, and you can try and fight that, but you're probably not going to win. And so I think that was eye-opening for me.
Yeah. I laugh when we had little kids, man, we could get out of the house by 11.
Right.
I would have big plans and we were going to the zoo or whatever. And I look at the clock, I'm like, it's 11 again. And we're leaving the house at 11. Like, really? Like, we used to be better than this, but not when you are managing multiple humans.
Yeah.
For sure. How else are we wired differently? Like, we've talked about this order and chaos kind of dichotomy. What else seems like you've talked about it before, of the different roles that we take, the different way we approach things?
I think it all kind of seems to come back to order versus chaos. But I think one of the things that stands out for me is your work persona versus the person I know. And you're not a completely different person. It's not like you have these, 2 different masks that you wear. But I think we've talked before about, in certain situations, I think people would see you as being very structured, very orderly, very much a rule follower. And if that is the only time or space that they know you, that's their impression of you. What do you think of Denise? She's very orderly. She's very structured. She follows the rules. Versus who you actually are in the majority of other situations is not necessarily that. So I think that's, and again, it's not a conflict. It's not you being two different people.
It's been a conflict though. I think that's a great thing to note. There are certain jobs where my personality works really well. And there are other jobs where it has been a conflict. So I've had to, I have that skill. Like, I can run a spreadsheet with the best of them. I can put a plan together. I can run a giant event. I can do all of those details. I don't love them. I would rather big picture. I would rather dream than do all of it. I can do it. Just don't want to. So when I have a job that is details all the time and I don't have an outlet for the joy and the passion and the excitement, I get burned out. And so I think about the principal job, right? That principal job is, I personally think, the hardest job in the world. I would never go back to it because the balance was off. I would get the joy. Like the joy of being with kindergartners and being the mermaid principal and doing all of the things was awesome. But the tediousness of the job got to me. And there was no grace in it, because that's the other piece that, for me, I want to give people grace all the time. Like, maybe you're showing up a little disheveled. Maybe your kid made you late. Maybe all of these things, because that's how life goes. But that job didn't allow for any of that. It was like, if you gave one person any grace, then somebody was complaining that you had a favorite or whatever. And you could never, ever rationalize with parents, like, see the other side, because they only see their kid's side. And I get it, because you love your kid and you want what's best for your kid. But I loved all the kids. And so I always wanted to see all the sides. And that's like core to my personality. So now, in a job where I just get to see kids, that's pretty awesome. Like, the balance is right. I get to serve all of these college students and help them be the best they can be. And the tediness of my job, gosh, doesn't really exist, right? Because I get to pick and choose the projects I work on, the things I do. Like today I got to present, and it's a super fun part of it. And I got to teach other professors. When there's something else that might not fit with me, I can opt out at this point in my career.
Yeah, I think so. You bring up a really interesting point, which is what aligns with your personal way of being. And you are fortunate now to be in a job that does align with how you want to be, how you want to show up in that environment, versus feeling like you have to put on a different face or a different personality just to survive. And I think, I mean, I feel like that's like the holy grail for all of us, is being able to find something that you can do that does fit with who you are as a person.
Yeah. And it makes me actually want to do some of the detaily stuff, right? Like, even for this, like, I put together this deck of cards for like how we do this conversation better and how we share it with the world so they can do these kinds of conversations better. That's detail, right? I'm looking at fonts, I'm looking at colors, I'm doing all the things, and all of what I know how to do really well. And it's around a topic I really love. So there's not a disconnect.
Yeah.
And it's my own timeline and my own deadlines.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I don't follow rules very well. I don't like to get in trouble either. So I will follow rules to not get in trouble.
To avoid trouble.
Yeah. Like, I hope there's not any police officers that listen to this, but when I'm speeding, I always have a story about why I'm speeding.
What?
You don't?
No.
Because you don't speed.
Are you kidding me?
Literally, I always have a story ready. Like, if I get pulled over, I can explain why I'm speeding today.
What? Is this a different story every day?
Yes.
What?
Well, it has to fit what's really going on. It's not a lie.
But I don't even understand.
Really?
What story would justify you speeding? Tell me an example. Give me one of your best.
Okay, well, today I was headed up to North Scottsdale for a meeting, and that is further than I normally have to go. And so, officer, I apologize because I did not plan ahead, and I got on this freeway not recognizing that it was a different speed limit than the other one that I normally take. Really? You don't do that?
No.
Oh my gosh. Does anybody else do that? Please weigh in. Okay, by the way, all the freeways have the same speed limit. But I would still say that. Most often, though, my story is the story that's most often in my head. I'm sorry, officer. I'm always driving my kids somewhere and I forgot they're not with me. So I'm sorry I'm in the carpool lane. I drive a Suburban. You can forget they ride so far back.
I'm speechless.
Really?
I am absolutely speechless right now. Like, I had no idea that all of this was going on in your head.
Always. This
Do you
is why
create
I'm
the story
saturated.
before you leave the house? Do you create it as you're speeding down the freeway?
It's usually only after I pass a police officer.
Huh.
It's real-time storytelling.
It's like creativity brought on by desperation
Yeah.
or by fear.
Like, it is usually fear-based.
Wow.
Yeah, knock on wood. I know that's different about me, but you are more of a rule follower.
I am. And I don't know. I think it brings up an interesting point. Like, this is giant. Are you happy with who you are? Like, I don't know that I'm happy to be a rule follower. I don't know that it's necessarily, like I don't get to the end of the day and be like, I followed all the rules today. I feel pretty good about myself. I can fall asleep with a clear conscience. Like it doesn't even enter into it. It's just how I'm, going back to that point, how I'm wired.
Yeah.
Whether it's nurture, nature, whatever it might be, that's just who I am and how I've been wired. And I think within me, not obeying the rules creates tension and anxiety. And like if we were to walk into a place and like, oh, we can just go over there and we can get around the line. No, we can't. There's a frickin' line for a reason. They've set it up this way. The rule is you stand in the line to get whatever it is you're getting. I'm not going to break the rule just because you want to break the rule, because then that tension and anxiety in me is now something I have to deal with, a situation that I've been put in that I didn't have to be put into.
So there's at least 2 of our children who feel that way as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know that the tension is often, which is interesting, right? Because you were saying earlier how these differences don't strain the relationship. And I think that's because we've been doing it for so long.
I don't think that it's that they don't strain the relationship. I think sometimes they do, but not to the point that it needs to be a major issue.
Makes sense.
I think. Tension, maybe it just creates tension in the relationship.
And so I think for our kids, the tension becomes about the person. So the tension of not following the rules for us might just be a tension, but for them, it's fucking mom is doing that shit again. Like, why is she always like that? Why is she cutting the line? Or why is she speeding? Or why, like, because it creates that anxiety within them because they want to follow the rules because that's the expectation of life and how we've raised them. Yeah. I always think about it like when this will tie back to sports, right? When we would go to spring training or whatever, I'd be like, go get an autograph. No, I don't want to bother them. Or I don't like, this is what they're here for. And I always think of it as like being too overly polite. And I think you operate from, you don't want to be a burden on anybody. You don't want to put anybody out. And especially in that autograph situation, like, I think it shows them more respect because you're excited to see them and you want to know their story and you want to talk to them. But what comes across with the kids is this tension of like, I said no. Leave it at no.
You mean from the kids?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That creates a lot of tension because I think that there's no first time no in a situation like that. It has to be like a second or third time no. And then I think there's tension created because I think, to your point, they're thinking, here we go again. Like, here's mom pressing me to go do something that I don't want to do. And I have the ability to make my own decision about that. But I think it sometimes feels to them like their decision-making ability is being taken away. Like, I can't make my own decision about going and asking for an autograph because somebody now is kind of pushing me to go do that. But that creates the tension, the anxiety. I don't want to, for whatever reason. And
Yeah, which I think is interesting because I think we put some of this on the kids, right? Like I think it's that piece of like, oh, you're like your dad or you're like your mom, when really the conversation is with the other person. So what I should be saying to you is like, is this a situation where you're saying no, or are you just being slow to warm up to it? Because I often take that like, I'm slow to warm up to it. Well, let me like help you in situations where it's already a no. But I'm never slow to warm up to anything. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's that difference of like, I don't know what's going on with this other person because I can't even put myself in their shoes because I've never felt that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that language, so identifying that language, I think is really important because to your point, is it a hard no or a soft no? And if it's a soft no, I can kind of keep gently nudging you, or not gently in your case, nudging you to the thing that you're trying to do or want to do. But a hard no needs to be a hard no. And I don't have to push in this situation, or I shouldn't push in this situation because it is truly a hard no.
Yeah.
But I mean, even
interesting.
just that language with our kids, I think could be helpful as well. Like, is this something where you kind of want me to try and push you a little bit and you just need to warm up to it? Because there are things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no, I think in my case, and I won't speak for the kids, but I think in my case, sometimes no is a knee-jerk reaction. And so if, and that could be that soft no. Do you want to do extra? No. Really? Well, maybe. I mean, now I'm starting to warm up to it. The initial reaction was no for whatever reason. I don't know why it's a knee-jerk reaction, but it just is sometimes. So I think that's where I need you to then push. This is a soft no. I'm warming up to it. Let's continue to talk about it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. To full circle back on the sports thing, I hear what you're saying about the optimism. And I think I have processed on ASU sports. I often know those athletes that are out there competing, like whether it's a roommate of one of my students or they're the same age as our kids. Like I feel like I know them. And so I want their experience here in college to be joyful and wonderful. And when there are grown humans who are cheering against them or calling out that they're not perfect, it bothers me to the point of protection. And so I don't like the negativity. I don't like where we sit in the stadium because there's too much negativity around play calling, around all of the things. And it disturbs me to the point where like it's uncomfortable. When it comes to professional athletes, I am an eternal optimist. And when the kids were little, I would have the games on pause and I would know what happened before I played it so they could see what happened. I always wanted to know the ending before anybody else knew the ending because I could prepare myself, right? Because they care so deeply about their teams that if their team wasn't going to win, I wanted to be prepared to be able to support them in it. If they were excited, I wanted to be able to support that too. They caught on to that. Mom knows what happened, right? Like, but right now with the Mariners, like it is so exciting to be on the verge of something they've never done before, but being content with what they've done so far. And a great text exchange with the kids this morning about that and how proud we are of the team, but at the same time, like we want more, but like we won't be disappointed if we don't get more. Like it's all been worth it. But what surprised me in all of it was your reaction the other night when they won after 15 innings. And it was like a big reaction because you've wanted it your whole life too.
Yeah.
But it was almost too much for me.
It was too much for you.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It was too much for me. Yeah. The big yelling, the boisterousness is always too loud for me. And we can go into all of those reasons why. You can go back and listen to the Family Dynamics episode of my podcast here so you can learn about why I have so many issues with yelling. But I do. So it's just a difference, right? But I operate from this like hopeful place. And you operate from I think what you were trying to say earlier is like this more realistic, like good things happen, bad things happen. We come down on one side or the other of it. And we're going to be happy when happy things happen and sad when sad things happen. I just don't ever want it to be sad. I always want to win.
Well, I think that's a natural thing. I think just about anybody out there could probably have a conversation with another person about how differently they're wired when it comes to things like sports.
Yeah.
If they watch sports, obviously. And I think it's a natural thing to approach it with all of your own stuff. For me, I go back to, I've talked about this before. I mean, Dad and I would sit on the couch the first Sunday of Seahawks regular season. We would always be hopeful. And then over the course of the season, very early on, the Seahawks weren't all that good. And so that hope gradually diminished to the point where we're like, well, here we go again. And so that kind of sense of resigning yourself to what's happening was demonstrated for me and was a thing that I did from a very early age. And so I think that maybe is now just carried over to other sports things as well. But then I will be super excited when my teams do well.
Yeah.
And I think also I think I've changed over the years, and I think maybe you've helped me see this too, that like the sun's going to rise tomorrow, regardless of win or loss, and regardless of, came close or got blown out or whatever the outcome might be, the sun's going to rise tomorrow. It's going to set tomorrow night. Like it just, things continue and you can't let this thing be the defining thing. And I don't let any of it be a defining moment in my life. It's not so important to me that I have to live and die by my teams, which I think actually is really helpful. I can be excited, I can be sad, but then I can move on to the next thing because this is just a thing that happens and I don't need to dwell on it.
And I think that dynamic has changed in the world. I was reading an article today out of the Atlantic about how sports betting has changed fandom, which we don't need to solve here, but I do think it's a different dynamic. But I grew up with the Padres and the Clippers and the Chargers. So I know hard sports. And I got really good at keeping stats and keeping score, loving the players for what they did off the court or field because we never won.
This isn't a misery competition for your sports teams.
But it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
So we have talked a lot today about how we are wired differently and
how it works together.
Yeah. And how that comes across in different ways. Like I said, I'm playing with this like deck of cards idea for continuing the conversation. So I'm looking at those right now to see if there's a good question here that I could ask you. I know. Who in your family do you feel like you're the most different from? And how has that shaped you? Just in life?
The 5 of us or my extended family or...
I don't know, Tim. I just wrote the question. You get to decide how to answer
I can choose the rules. I think the obvious answer is my sister. I think that I'm quite different from her. And in terms of how it's defined me, or I think that, I don't know. I mean, I think that I've always been conscious of the difference. And I think the differences have been called out by people before, which made me almost even more conscious of it, which then I think created this little bit of a loop that I had to be different.
Yeah.
So like, it's almost like it became a self-fulfilling prophecy of, maybe we would be closer than we are right now if I didn't always feel like I had to be different.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think with 2 kids, that's easy to do.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it would be interesting to go back to rewind time and to say, I didn't have to be different. It wasn't a competition. It wasn't that it was right or wrong to be different. And so instead of placing a value judgment on how different we were, we could just be our own people and potentially have grown closer and not had to worry about being different.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. What about for you?
I feel like there are some strong threads that go through my family. I feel like we're all pretty similar. I do think my mom and I have a line from Hamilton going, diametrically opposed foes, right? Like there are pieces that we are so different. Like she will say, I'm a words person. She's a math person. She likes to know what she's eating for the next meal before she's finished the meal she's on.
She does.
things like that order is very much her. But I think in reality, we're not that much different. It's just kind of how we approach things that are different. How we maybe process things are different, but like core values are kind of similar and the same. But I think for a lot of years, I defined myself by being different than her. But I think, and I think she would probably say the same thing, it was when I became a parent that mattered less, because I wanted to raise the kids in a similar way that I was raised. And having her and my dad be such an integral part in who they were and what they did and how they supported us, like it became easier to have some similarities there.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but it's interesting.
It is, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. Let me look. Where else are we? We're a ways into this. We're probably at the point where we probably need to wrap up a little bit. I think we could both answer this question the same way. Who helped you learn to understand yourself better?
You.
Yeah, you. Same. It's a good question.
This feels like that game show. What was it? The Newlywed Show?
Yeah,
like, how is the other person going to answer?
Right. All right. So we have come to the time where we are wrapping up, but let's talk about a little mini moment, or I think I've renamed it to a connection moment, because that feels more aligned with what we do here. What's one word that describes your energy today?
I got to be honest, drained.
Yeah.
I think physically, but I think also mentally. Like we were joking about, I'm doing a yard project instead of looking for a job. I'm avoiding looking for a job, and that's creating tension and anxiety. And I am spinning, to be completely transparent and honest, like I'm spinning on this whole job thing. And so I'm out there just destroying myself in the yard physically, but then I come in at the end of the day and I'm like kind of saddled with that tension about not having made any progress on the job search. So like physically and mentally exhausting myself in the process. So yeah.
But at the same time, you still have another month at Starbucks after this little vacation is over.
Yeah.
You have another month, and then
and I think I need to get into a little bit of a different routine. We got back from Italy and I immediately charged into this yard thing, and that's fine. I mean, I love the outcome and the results. Yeah. I think I need to get into a little bit more of a balanced position of like maybe in the morning I go out there and work for 4 hours, and then I come in, take a shower, and then maybe I sit down at my desk and I do like, I have to figure out a little bit of a different way of being in these last, what do I have left, 10 days of this vacation. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's true. Yeah, that's our little mini moment for today.
Well, what about you?
Oh.
How would you describe your energy? I think you kind of hit it at the beginning.
Saturated. But I'm also energized. So I don't know how those fit together. I think this energized me, and it's just one foot in front of the other. It's just one thing, then do the next thing.
Yeah.
It's what I always say to Thatch, like, what's the next thing? And so it's just the next thing. And then I'll get there. You can be saturated in between. And I think you can hold different space for different things at different times, right? I can be energized to do this. I wasn't going to take this off the plate today.
Yeah.
But still feel saturated by the other things and know that they will get done. And they are my own deadlines, and nothing bad is going to happen.
But I think you bring up an interesting point, or maybe I'm just extrapolating what you're saying. I think you can be saturated and be energized by everything you're saturated by. Like saturation is a kind of almost like a physical state of, to your point, I can't put one more thing into my brain right now. I'm energized by the 20 things that are already there.
Yeah.
But I can't handle a 21st. So
right.
Saturation doesn't have to equal it's bad or it's whatever. That's just the amount of capacity you have left.
Absolutely. I will say we are mid game.
Oh.
Top 5th, still 1-0.
Oh.
So we are gonna, I think, wrap it up for today. Go get a beverage and watch and see what happens with our team. So
hey, before we go, what's this picture behind us?
I know. Is this just so beautiful?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I recognize that.
That's Italy, my friends. That is us out doing a blue walk, and thought we would put that up as something pretty to look at today.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Do you remember which hike that was?
That looks like the path of the lemons, the last day, the walk up to the lemons.
So what town would that be?
So that would be Minori.
Yep, I think that's true.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Minori.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for being here today. We appreciate it.
Take care, everybody.